Hi there, in today's video, I am so excited to sit down with you guys and talk a bit about food freedom. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Jessica, and here on my channel, we focus on all things mom life. However, everything we do here in my space does have a bit of a healthy twist, as I'm a holistic nutritionist and a nutritional therapy practitioner. Through conversations with all of you here in the comment section, over on Instagram, in my DMs, and especially with my one-on-one clients or the ladies in my group course, Moms Need to Be Healthy Too, I am often asked how I've come to the place in the relationship with food, how sometimes I make it look so effortless, like it's just a simple lifestyle that I lead, and what are my best tips and tricks to achieve this type of relationship with food and lifestyle. So I thought it would be really helpful to sit down and film this video so I could talk with all of you how I came to this place with food. My relationship with food hasn't always looked like this. There's definitely been some times where maybe I was a bit more relaxed, definitely more intense with my relationship with food, but now I found a really healthy balance, and I know that it can seem far off and difficult to achieve that balance, but I promise you sometimes it just takes a few mindset shifts and putting yourself in a position to make healthy choices based on your intuition, and things can really just fall into place. Before getting started, I do want to put out a disclaimer that if you're somebody who has suffered from disordered eating, that intuitive eating and food freedom may not be right for you at this time. But if we can kind of work through a bit of the triggers and get you into a position where you feel empowered with food, then finding intuitive eating may be a wonderful fit for you later on down the line. When it comes to ease and relaxation with food, oftentimes it's the prep work that counts. And that is really critical and important, and something I emphasize with my clients. We have to have a really strong foundation and baseline. And then when we've kind of laid down that groundwork and we're working off of that strong foundation, it makes it a whole lot easier to listen to our bodies and actually pay attention to those hunger, cravings, and cues. A few things that we can do to jump in and get that strong foundation is take a look and get analyzed. So whether that's with blood work, oftentimes if we find any nutritional mineral deficiencies in our diet or any potential triggers that we may have in food sensitivities, just getting all of that done ahead of time can be extremely helpful to understanding our baseline and where we're at nutritionally. So I will go ahead and put on the screen here some of the labs that I recommend to all of the ladies in my group course and my one-on-one clients. We use these labs as our baseline and as a great place to understand where we're coming from and potentially any hormone dysfunctions that we may have going on within the endocrine system. Then that helps us achieve a little bit more clarity as we work towards food freedom. I will also list all of these labs for you guys in the description box down below. The next few markers that I also think are important is that we pay attention as women to our menstruation cycle. Are you regular? Do you have regular cycles? Do you have extreme cramping, extreme bleeding? I really want us to be conscientious and aware of our menstruation cycle, because these hormonal shifts are so imperative to overall health and wellness. When we have a very regular cycle and it's something that we're in tune with, it's really helpful for us to understand and use that as a great way to identify potentially where we're at in our cycle, and that also helps us understand our cravings and our cues. The next thing that we want to be mindful of is our digestion. So if you feel bloat, gas, or you have digestive upset frequently, then we want to really work on getting our digestive system in alignment, because when we have optimal digestion and we can really masticate, digest, and break down and really assimilate all of those nutrients from our gut, that's what's really important. Then we're getting the most out of all of our foods. So when we have a really strong digestive system, it also helps us in finding food freedom, because we're actually utilizing all of the beautiful systems in our body properly. And then we can utilize the nutrients of the foods that we're actually eating to feel full and satisfied. Okay, now we're gonna get into some action tips of things we can do to lay down the groundwork before we start finding our food freedom, and this will help our success tremendously. So the first thing that we wanna do is to get hydrated. First thing in the morning, it should be the number one thing that you put into your body. So whether it's just room temperature water, warm water with lemon, or my lemon ginger tonic, which I will include for you guys in the description box down below, getting hydrated first thing in the morning helps your body detox. So all night long, our organs, our brains, our liver, everything has been detoxing while we sleep. Our body is really good at doing this, but sometimes we can stand in its way. So to help remove some of that bile and potentially those digestive enzymes that we're not utilizing, we want to hydrate first thing in the morning when we wake up. That also helps us really pay attention to our hunger cues, because oftentimes being dehydrated is one of the number one reasons that we feel a little bit foggy or we have those really intense cravings. So getting hydrated is really critical when it comes to the path of food freedom. The next action step that we absolutely have to take is to get deep, restful sleep. If you don't get enough sleep, and if you're not getting enough restful sleep, then the next day you are less likely to have a regulated blood sugar, which means that your insulin will be spiking up and down with your cortisol levels all day, making you crave less than ideal foods. I've been talking a lot about my quest to get the best sleep of my life this year, and that starts with a consistent bedtime. So within a certain range, I am trying to get to bed every night in or around the same time. And that's really important to me because my mornings are so crucial to me. And in order to wake up early, I need to go to bed and get some deep, restful sleep. Also, I've talked a lot about all of the tips and tricks that I do to create a sleep sanctuary. So whether it's keeping the room dark and cool, I do sleep with a Marpac Dome sleep machine. I will link that for you guys in the description box down below. No technology right before bed in order to fall asleep. Additionally, I always make a beautiful cup of warming tea right before bed. And then one of the tools that I've been utilizing since November to really help with my sleep is the BioOptimizer's Magnesium Breakthrough. So you guys have been hearing me rave about the BioOptimizer's Magnesium Breakthrough, and that is because it is truly revolutionary. Breakthrough indeed. They found a way to blend all 7 elemental forms of magnesium into one supplement. This has never been done before in this form. Additionally, it is highly absorbable. So when you take this magnesium, you're getting the best high quality magnesium and you're getting all 7 forms in one. Where other magnesiums fail is that 1, they could be loaded with synthetic fillers, and 2, they don't blend all 7 forms of magnesium. So this has helped my sleep tremendously. So when I'm getting ready to go to bed, I've already taken my Magnesium Breakthrough. Then when I get into bed, I do my sleep routine. I lay down and I'm out. It takes really nothing for me to fall asleep, but that's just me and the way that my body works. But I find that if I miss a night of the BioOptimizers, I do tend to wake up in the middle of the night, or I notice that I toss and turn a bit more when I wake up in the morning. I don't feel as rested. When I take the BioOptimizer's magnesium, I always say it's as if I'm hacking my sleep. When I get that 7 to 7.5 hours of sleep and I take this, it's extremely deep, restful sleep. I wake up in the morning and I'm like, whoa, what just happened? But it's the best feeling ever because I know how restorative that sleep was for me. And when you get deep restorative sleep, you don't have as intensive cravings the next day. You're not going to reach for that 2nd or 3rd cup of coffee. You're also probably going to be more mindful of the foods you eat because you're not going to have that blood sugar dysregulation throughout the day. So adding in the BioOptimizer's magnesium has been really helpful for me. And I do have a 10% discount code that I will link for you guys in the description box down below because I am partnering with BioOptimizers on today's video. They have so graciously extended that to all of you. The next action step I have for everybody that I've been implementing to find food freedom is to get outdoors every single day. Not just for the vitamin D, the sunshine vitamin, which is critical and really important, but science has supported that being outdoors can absolutely lower our stress hormones, cortisol, which in turn can lead to less cravings of foods that potentially don't support us on our journey. In addition to that, it also can help improve memory and cognition. So when you're in a good place and you don't feel stressed, you have heightened cognition, you have better memory, and you can think and recall all of your goals and your why, and you feel a bit more peppy because you did get that extra vitamin D and sunshine, you're more likely to reach for healthier foods. You are more likely to put together a healthier alternative. You are more likely to find joy in eating these nutrient-dense foods because you don't feel rushed and you don't feel panicked. So just getting outdoors, even if it's for 15 minutes a day, can dramatically help us on our journey and on our quest to intuitive eating and food freedom. And my last action step is to eat mindfully. This is probably the most important step on our journey. If you're eating your lunch or your dinner and you're mindlessly scrolling on Instagram or TikTok, or you're eating your dinner or your snacks in front of Netflix, the chances of you overeating is significantly higher because you're not paying attention to how full you potentially are. You're completely distracted and even engulfed in that activity. How many times have we, all of us, myself included, found ourselves like eating a snack and on Instagram clicking through stories, and then all of a sudden you've eaten like 3 cookies, or you're watching Netflix and you're just eating, maybe it's like a savory snack or a salty snack with your spouse, and you're on the couch or you're in bed and you're just eating, and you don't even realize that you've eaten an entire bowl of popcorn. Now, of course, we do have to have balance, which we will get to that lastly. We do have to have balance, which is really important. I always want us to be mindful about our snacking, and if we do choose, and that's the key term here, if we do choose to eat in front of a screen, it's a choice that we're making and that we're aware of it. It's not something mindless. We're not numbing out in front of the screen while eating. We're not numbing out in front of the phone and watching TikToks while eating. We want to focus on slowing down, chewing our foods, really breaking down those foods and those nutrients so that when they get to the gut and they go through the digestive system, it's a little bit easier on your digestive system to break down and assimilate these foods. Additionally, the slower you chew and the more mindful you are of chewing, you'll be able to pay attention to your level of satiety. Are you satiated? Are you full? Do you maybe need a bit more fat? Do you maybe need a bit more fiber in this meal? Or are you missing a wonderful healthy carb or a starch? And also taking deep breaths and being calm while you eat your foods is really important for our parasympathetic nervous system. If we're watching some Netflix show like Squid Games and you're watching something like that while you're eating, you're having a stress response, 1, cortisol, to the show, and then you're eating, so your blood sugar is spiking through the roof. Your insulin is spiking through the roof. So your body views this as such a stressful event and environment while you're trying to pull out nourishment from foods. It just does not serve us in any way. So I want us to be mindful to chew, to slow down. If you do want to listen to maybe a podcast or an audio book, something like that, that's a bit more relaxing. I do find that isn't as quite disruptive as the mindless scrolling. That's something that we can find ourselves in a really sticky situation of overeating and having some of those negative reactions to whatever we're watching and we're seeing. And that's just not helpful for us, our nervous system, or our digestive system when we're trying to eat our foods. So now that we've taken all of the action steps, we of course have to touch on balance. And this is the most important part about food freedom. When you become overly restrictive with foods, like I can't have that food, I can't eat the gluten, I can't eat the dairy, and you become restrictive with these certain categories of foods, that creates an unhealthy and uncontrolled desire for those particular foods because we put so much weight into those foods. We're thinking about them all the time. So unless you have a sensitivity to something and it really does cause major upset in your body, I don't think we should take anything off the table and rule it out completely. So for example, I do not test sensitive to gluten or dairy. I do not get any digestive upset when I have gluten or dairy. Now, if I eat either of these foods in excess, sure, I don't feel my best day in and day out with excessive gluten or dairy. However, back when I was definitely in a more restrictive place, I was constantly thinking like, ooh, does that have gluten in it? Does that have dairy in it? I can't eat gluten and dairy. Like go out to eat, like, oh, not me. I don't eat gluten and dairy. Like I can't be exposed to that. And I would put these foods on such a pedestal. They were so important to me, even though I avoided them and I didn't eat them. Now, if you're somebody who does get a lot of bloating and headaches and migraines from any food category, then you should absolutely be hypervigilant about avoiding it. But we can create these unhealthy dialogues with these foods, the sugar, the cookies, the chocolate, like, oof, not for me. I don't eat cookies. I go to the birthday party, but I'm not gonna eat that cake. That's not for me. Like, no cake for me, please. You create this really disillusioned relationship with those foods. And that is probably one of the least healthy ways to finding food freedom. When you give certain foods these special categories, that just makes them more important to you. But foods are actually neutral, right? Some make you feel better, some make you feel worse. But at the end of the day, it's all food. But sure, I choose to eat more foods that make me feel better and less foods that make me feel potentially a bit tired, groggy, I have a bit more brain fog. I'm gonna choose more foods that give me energy. And that's the beauty of finding food freedom. how does the food make you feel? How do you feel after you eat the food? If I make a smoothie, if I make a Nourish Bowl, if I make an amazing sheet pan dinner with my family, I feel great. But if I'm out at my best girlfriend's birthday party and there's cake, I also feel great. Having a glass of wine and eating the cake with all of my girlfriends, that experience is amazing for me. I don't feel anything after. I don't feel groggy. I don't feel digestive upset. I feel nothing but joy, peace, and happiness. So when you take all of those action steps and you lay them out in front of you, it creates a really beautiful path to food freedom. I want you to take all of those action steps and lay them out in front of you. So it's hydration, sleep, getting outdoors, eating mindfully. All of those action steps are just like little lily pads or stepping stones for you to get to food freedom. And every day, if you walk along that path, you can get closer and closer to this place of freedom with food. And you can have a really healthy balance with the cookies, with the cake, with the chocolate, with the wine. All of those can have a place if they're healthy and if you have a healthy relationship with them. All of those can have a place in our life, right? But most of the time when you eat from this place of intuitive eating, you will more likely choose the healthier foods that give you the energy, that give you the clarity, that make you jump out of bed in the morning, that have you feeling really great inside and outside of your body. So I hope that you found today's video helpful. And if you did, let me know in the comment section down below what were the biggest aha moments for you and what are your best tips and tricks to finding food freedom and where are you on your journey. So thank you guys so much for watching. And if you liked this video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. And now the subscribe button is right over here on the screen. Give that a click. That way you don't miss a single video. And I hope to see you back here next Thursday.